Are you better than everyone else and you have a need to let others know it? If so, you're likely an H&K owner. And this is likely the best all-around polymer 9mm H&K, the H&K P30. What the heck? I don't know what's wrong. I put it in just like the catalog says to. Oh well, we'll try this again. Pew, pew, pew. The H&K P30 is one of the few guns that I bought, then sold, then bought again, and now getting ready to sell once again. Gun owners and fans of H&K would be in agreement that Heckler Koch is one of the leaders and pioneers in polymer pistols, and in particular the double single action handguns. Perhaps this is the culmination of the USP and the P2000 models, the HK P30. Today, the P30 comes in a variety of models, including the variants in both long and short slides, along with the variety of frame sizes, including full size and compacts. They also come with different sights, safety, and trigger options. What I have here is the P30 with a standard frame and shorter slide, and the double single action V3 trigger along with night sights. So who is this gun for and why should you consider the HK P30 models? The P30 is now positioned as an upscale pistol at the price point slightly higher than your typical Glock and SIG models, but a bit below the metal frame SIG P226s. When the P30 came out, it was a solid $850 plus pistol, but a number of years ago, HK dropped the prices by a few $100. The P30 is notorious for two things. First, it has amazing ergonomics, and second, its combat reliability. The P30 is a very comfortable gun to both hold and to shoot, and the gun was one of the first truly ergonomic pistols and is still one of the only ones that lets you customize the grip to your preferences. The gun has 3 different panels, both on each side and along with the back strap, and each of these is adjustable and configurable with 3 different sized panels. Typically, your modern guns will let you adjust the back strap only, and they won't let you alter the thickness of the grip. Secondly, the gun is very reliable and had gone over 90,000 rounds without a major malfunction in a fairly publicized test, and those guns were available to be seen at SHOT Show a number of years back. Both of these are reasons why I bought the gun the first time and again the second time. The gun is perhaps the ultimate shit hits the fan or home defense gun when a Glock or an M&P just won't fit your baller lifestyle. Combined with the HK cult following, it's not a surprise that this gun was featured in a number of John Wick movies. Baba Yaga. So let's take a look at some of the major features of this pistol. While it's not a big deal to right-handers, wrong-handers will surely appreciate that the gun is fully ambidextrous, with both slide and mag releases on both sides of the gun. In Soviet Russia, you would be retaught, but in America, you have guns for both sides. The slide release is fairly nice and long, and the lever lets you get some good leverage on it to release the slide. This ambidextrous feature is a big plus if you're operating the gun weak-handed, and you'd be able to release it like so. And one of the features that surely provokes strong emotions from both sides is going to be the paddle release. Some people love them. Apparently most Americans hate it. And yeah, the one feature that's not ambidextrous is the decocker button, which is located on the back. And this was definitely meant for your right thumb. The slide does have both forward and rear serrations. And it's nice that HK included them about a decade before Glock thought it was a really good idea. Now the serrations were not super deep, but they are going to be functional. And I suppose if they were any more aggressive, it would be too much for the precious HK owner hands. The gun has 3-dot sights, as you can see here, and they're definitely combat type sights. They're not intended for precision. The front sight post is fairly thick, and there's not a lot of room around it for light to get in, so it's not going to be that precise. The gun does use a common rail, so you can mount your choice of light, laser, or even a bayonet if you wanted one. And as we discussed, the gun had 9 different grip panels, so you can customize the grip to your heart's content. The panels, they are fairly nicely textured, but they're not anything close to that you would find on a stippled gun. And again, depending on if you're going to be using this for gun games or combat situations, I don't think it's going to be enough. I can definitely see this gun being able to fall out of your hands, but if you're just going to the range, it's not going to be a problem. Lastly, the gun is going to come with 2 15-round magazines, and these are shared in common with the VP9 pistol. So let's take a look at how it shoots and go from there. Okay, so we'll do our first with a double action. So I have 10 rounds. What I think I want to do is we'll go 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Should be empty. Okay, so this is one of the things that I wanted to mention about the gun is for guys who are used to shooting with their thumbs forward grip. So this is one of the things that I wanted to mention for a lot of people that you might have an issue with. If you have a thumbs forward grip, what you might end up doing is riding the extended slide release. So when you run the mag dry, mag's going to be empty, but the gun is not going to lock back because you have it riding. So it's one of those things you got to keep in mind specifically with this gun. Picture on here. Let's go for the small ones. I'm out. That was 20 rounds. The good news is the mag extension worked fine. So one of the things I totally forgot to do is talk about my impressions shooting it. I was having so much fun. All right, so let's take a look. We'll start with double action, and let's go on the back target. The sight picture is so different, and once again, held that. Yeah, there's no issues loading the mag. Fairly flat shooting, but shooting at further distances. These are combat sights, these are not target sights. So, let's keep shooting. That CZ ruined me. All right, so we loaded up some mags. Let's take it for a spin. One of the things I totally forgot to discuss, but it totally hit me while I was standing there getting the sweat off of my eyebrows, is that the grip panels. So we talked about the need to have aggressive texturing on your grips, particularly if you're going to be shooting outside in the sun, your hands are going to get sweaty. Shooting the CZ, I had absolutely no problem because I had the more aggressive VZ operator grips on there. Going back to the P30, I mean, I started already missing the target up front here at 15 yards for a simple reason that I'm coming up at it. The gun is just sliding around in my hand because even though like there's a little bit of texture, there's not enough texture on here. So if you are going to be shooting outdoors in the sun, your hands are going to get wet. If you have a lot of sweaty hands, something definitely to consider. One of the things you can do about it, because you do have 3 different panels, you could try and you can stipple them to make them a little bit more aggressive. Worst case is you throw a pair out and then you have a couple others that you can play with. So keep that in mind. So what do I think about it and why did I sell it the first time? Probably because I think the gun lacks soul. Don't get me wrong, the gun, it's a very soft shooter, it's very comfortable, and it's very accurate. But to me, it's kind of like shooting a 6.226 and some other guns. I honestly just don't get that feeling that, gee, I really want to go shoot this gun today. And I'm sure other gun owners can chime in with that. And I think it's due to a few factors. One of the things we did not yet discuss is the trigger. The trigger is one of the things that's going to turn many people off away from this gun. The trigger in the double single action model is frankly nothing to write home about. The double action trigger pull is very heavy, and despite my best intentions, I'm still going to jerk the trigger as it's going to break. The single action trigger, it's better, but even still it's going to be quite a bit of a mess. Now let me show you, there's a fairly long take up before you get to the wall, and at that point it's going to take about 5.5, 6 pounds of pressure, and with a spongy break, the trigger is going to break. The reset is also very long, And as you reset the trigger, it doesn't reset at the wall. You got to pull it back in before you get back to the wall, and then you can pull the trigger. Unfortunately, while I haven't tried the newest triggers that were just released for these guns, I have tried a number of other trigger jobbed guns, P30s, and while they did reduce the trigger weight, they did not do anything to improve the slop. Now the gun is also available with a lem trigger, which is totally different. And in general, people are fans of the trigger, but it's still quite a bit away from a trigger you can expect from a nice CZ, 1911, or even a SIG short reset trigger. One of the more recent knocks on the gun is that the magazines are only 15 rounds, and it doesn't really matter to the 94 million people living behind enemy lines in the banned states, but most of the new modern pistols will have capacities that are going to be anywhere from 16 to 19 or even 20 rounds. So you are going to be a little bit of a disadvantage there. The other knock I have on this gun is that the accessories are expensive. I mean, you can call it the HK tax if you want. Take the magazines, for instance. While they've come down in price, they're still about $35 to $45 each. So that means an additional 150 bucks if you want to get some spare mags to go shoot fun shoots or like USPSA or IDPA matches. The good news is you can at least solve the capacity issue with 5-round magazine extensions from X-Tech Tactical. And with those extensions, you can fit 20 rounds in a magazine. So, the bottom line. As I stated in a previous video, I consider myself a gun guy, in the sense that I'm not going to tell you, no, you can't buy that gun. I will, however, share with you a couple of my thoughts. As we already discussed, this gun, it's reliable, it's fairly comfortable to shoot, but so is a Glock, an M&P, a CZ, or even the terrific values that you have in the Rugers. So where does this gun fit? From the design perspective, for right-hand shooters, I don't think there's anything here that is really a must-have, and in reality you have a couple of features that you might dislike, such as the paddle magazine release. For left-handed shooters, however, the ambidextrous nature of the P30 does put it near or at the top of the list. Unlike most modern guns that will offer ambi-mag releases, the P30 offers ambidextrous magazine releases, the slide release capabilities, so it's great functionality to have. Beyond that, it really boils down to whether or not you want to buy Heckler Koch specifically, or the gun that you're looking for just happens to be a Heckler Koch. H&K produces terrific firearms, but over the years has also made themselves the king of memes, such as the HK, we're better than you, and you know it. And the major marketing snafus, such as using the catalogs with the ammunition loaded backwards. Even still, the HK Kool-Aid is strong. And while it's not as strong as the CZ variety, the HK club size is far bigger and probably only second in size to the Glock aficionado community. The P30 is then a fairly good ticket into that community, and one which you probably won't feel too disappointed about if you discover that the HK world is not for you. At this point, in a word, okay, a Russian word, it's показуха, meaning that it's a show-off to sell a great message, but underneath it, the cookie starts to crumble a little bit. While the gun being an HK may impress some non-gun owners or gun noobs, the vast majority of experienced gun owners are simply not going to be impressed or even care that you have an HK. In a sense, while the HK P30 did have innovative features a decade ago at launch, which justified the premiums completely, today that premium is largely for the name and not necessarily any competitive features. So if you have a few $100s that you can throw away on a name, on a perceived luxury, and not necessarily the best firearm, this gun is totally up your alley. It will still be a reliable gun, but it's not going to make you a better shooter or a better gun owner. Would I buy one new? No, and neither was my first or the second one. I purchased both of these used with less than 100 rounds for the barrel, and this one actually was used, but it was unfired. So if you're looking for a good reliable firearm or essentially a good home defense gun, and you can find one used for under 500 bucks, don't hesitate for a moment. Just keep in mind that this gun will be kind of like a luxury Lexus. It's pretty and it's reliable and it's something to impress your friends with. But if you're looking for a gun for bullseye or competition shooting, you're kind of barking up the wrong tree. So there you go. That's the HK P30. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you liked the video. If so, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and do share it with your friends. If you want to support the channel, do check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/SlavGuns. And as always, I'll see you next time. All right. I will, however, share with you my thoughts. Frickin' bugs. All right. As we already discussed, what I have here is the standard P30. Jesus, bugs, Christ. Let's start with what's in the box. So the P30s have usually come in this fairly nice HK case. You do have the serial number on the side, and you have more stuff on here. Inside the box, you will have your packet. You have a nice place where the gun fits. You have a mag loader. You have your second magazine. You do have the extra grip panels. We have 2 extra grip panels for the back, the sides, and of course the ones that are in there. Under the foam you have your HK lock, your HK manual, an HK sticker, and the fired case for the gun. Okay, so let's talk about how the gun breaks down for cleaning. The P30 is going to follow a similar process to a lot of other guns, but it's going to be also a little bit different. So to break it down, basically what you're going to find is you're going to have this little notch here. This is for taking it down. This is basically the notch for the slide release. Now what you need to do is to align that notch with the slide release for the takedown. And as you might be able to see, it is not perfectly aligned with it this way. So there are some guns where you just lock it back, flip the switch, and you'll be able to pop it out. Not so much with the HK. This is going to be a little bit kind of like CZs and Glocks. You do need to move this till you have the space, and from the back side you have this little pin that you have to push in. This is where having something sharp comes in handy, so you can kind of push it through. And then basically what you're going to see is this comes out to the other side. You can kind of see the red mark there, and you can just pull the gun out. Simple as that. There's no need to pull the trigger or anything else like that. It's not a clock. You're not going to go make it go bang. Then you remove the guide rod and the barrel, and you are good to go. That's basically what it comes down to. That's your field strip, and then you clean it. Putting it back, it's the reverse process. Just push it in. That kind of aligns right there. Slide it in, and basically what you're going to do is align it to here, and then just press it in, and you're good to go. And you're there. Okay. Despite all of its good stuff, the HK P30 does have an issue, and that is that the stock trigger pull in the V3 is not the greatest. So there are two types of trigger pulls that you could be doing with the P30. The first one is in double action, which is where the hammer is already down. And the second one is single action, when you rack the slide and cock the hammer. So let's start with the double action. Okay, so I'm going to turn the gun so it's easier this way. And we are using our Lyman trigger pull gauge. £9, 12 ounces. £9, 15 ounces. £10, 7 ounces. £10, 2 ounces. £10, 6 ounces. That gives us an average of 10 pounds, 2 ounces. Okay, so now let's try with single action. So let's clear all of them. Oops. Okay, so our take up is right around 3 pounds. And then it breaks at 5 pounds, 13 ounces. Once again, take-ups are right around 3.5, 4 pounds. 5 pounds, 15 ounces. £5, 11 ounces. £5, 10.5 ounces. £5, 12.5 ounces, so that gives us an average of 5, 12.5. I might have cleared it. Right around there. So that's the trigger pull on the HK P30L V3 completely stock.